Well, I mean, you know what they say, Mike. You set the mood, or like the different colors have like different moods associated with them. You know, like a blue is like a calming effect, or a red is more like anger. I don't know. Green is weed. I don't know.
I can hear the weed color. I bet you have green on right now.
He's green with ganja, as the kids say.
Lovely.
Speaking of green and weed, my mom currently is in Las Vegas. She's spending a few days there traveling. And for those of you who don't know, marijuana is legal in the state of Nevada. So she is...
oh my.
She is in quite a shock there as she's sending me many texts and pictures like, there's marijuana stores everywhere.
The people here are smoking.
Now... I mean, I don't know why she's sending me all this information. She almost acts like I'm some sort of expert on the substance. I don't know what to tell her.
Corey went to college. He must know what the weed is.
You guys can put two and two together. I don't know. I'm just sitting here like, hands are up in the air, you know?
Yeah, I'm just here playing my video games and smoking my weed. What's the big deal? How else do I play Smash Bros?
I thought you were gonna go with another game that I've been dabbling into. I guess we'll get
Monster
to that later.
Hunter Rise. I get a rise out of this weed right here.
Not that one. Not that one.
Thinking. I give up. What game are you referring to?
Oh, come on, Mike. Did you not see my Instagram story last night? It is my new transitioning gamer. I
did. What the hell was it? Oh, I forget.
Big generic gamer. I smoke the weeds and I hop on Twitch and then I just play some Fortnite. Get them victory royales. Chug the jug. You know, number one victory or whatever. We'll talk about that later.
Sounds good.
But before we get into too much of the podcast here, we like to start off just talking about what we've done throughout our past week. Before we get into like the actual video game stuff, this past week was a holiday. It was the Easter's, the Bunny Day.
Oh yeah,
all the eggs.
There are eggs everywhere. Everything in my house was just replaced by eggs.
I mean that. Go ahead.
I went to go reach for a gallon of milk. There was an egg there. I cracked open an egg. And another egg popped out. It was horrible.
I went to pet my dog Leo. Just a bunch of eggs.
Well, no, that sounds awful. That sounds like King Midas, where whatever he touched turned to gold.
I went to check on my I went to check on my fiance. She was sleeping in bed. Pulled the covers off her. Turns out she was just a bunch of eggs.
I honestly thought you were going to
Yeah, I mean, I could have went there.
That's so funny. That's so funny. I thought you were going to say, pulled over the sheets. She was there with Eggman.
And slowly your house that you've been renovating just turns into thousands of eggs. And then, like, people are walking by like, oh, look at that man. He's really celebrating Easter properly, as you're just, like, crying there. Like, oh, my belongings, my fiance, my dog. Everything I've worked for, all my cardboard, all my collectibles.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. I gotta reach for my Charizard. It's now an egg.
It's just like the worst episode of Twilight Zone ever. Like everything is just, and they're all like I'm picturing like colorful like Easter eggs, like the pastel, like yellow and blue and pink, and then like people just passing by, like, oh look, he's having a great Easter. Look at all his eggs.
Man, he gets a little too into it.
Mommy, why is that man crying?
And why are his tears turning into eggs?
You know, I was going to say that I had a very similar situation with the eggs, although all my eggs were chocolate filled with peanut butter.
Although there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I didn't touch everything and it turned into them. I just somehow, everyone's like, here you go, Corey, here's 24 chocolate peanut butter eggs, enjoy. And it's like, guys, I'm trying to eat healthier now. I'm trying to avoid the sweets. Why must you tempt me so? The fam.
Maybe they want to fatten you up so that way when your heart slowly stops, they can be yes. Now they get off Corey's inheritance money.
Time to sneak into the Game Bro Corey and just pick up that lifestyle. Like my mom just comes on here. Hey guys, it's Game Bro. I don't actually want to say my mom's name.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys could look it up if you really wanted to. But
hi guys, it's Mrs. Corey, Mrs. Game Bro Corey, or Mama Game. Oh no, wait. There's Game Bro Corey. How about Game Bro Mama?
Game Mama. Yeah. Close enough.
Game Bro Mama.
Hey guys, it's Game Sis Megan hopping on chat.
There we go.
Gonna play some Super Smash Brothers. I'm gonna play my main Link as I do. And it's like, what the heck happened to Corey? Did he have one of those like surgeries, or should we ask him what his pronouns are right now? I digress.
Oh.
I'm not trying to make fun of trans people. Let's just move on from there.
No, that's my job. just kidding. I make fun of everyone.
Guys, I'm all for it. I want to have just every bathroom be a whatever bathroom you want. I just want a bunch of those like bathrooms that are, I don't know how we're getting on the topic of this. We're really
just
jumping around.
Porta potties everywhere. One person per porta potty.
You're kind of speaking my language, because that's what I was kind of going to say. I was like, yeah, everyone should just have those like single stalls, not a family bathroom, but those stalls that are just like, oh, it's man or woman or whatever you identify as. You just lock it. There's a toilet and a sink in there. That's the ideal public bathroom for everyone, okay? Because no one wants to be taking a dump and see someone like right next to them also taking a dump. It's weird. It's barbaric. What are we, in the Roman Colosseum days where we sit next to one another, dropping logs freely and shooting the shit? Well, I guess dropping the shit. What is this beginning of this podcast? Oh my goodness.
It's probably the best podcast.
I had 2 sips of this truly original lemonade hard seltzer. And who knows where we're going. Happy Easter. Hope everyone had a great Easter. Hope you got some actual chocolate eggs, not the other kind of chocolate eggs we were just talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did I do? Okay. So I actually have a story about eggs. Speaking of eggs, Saturday morning, I actually went out for breakfast with Megan and her mother, and we had a lovely time in Hershey, Pennsylvania, where we quite travel frequently. And we decided to get some breakfast there. And I don't know why I've been cursed with this, but every mother effing time I go to Hershey and specifically order Eggs Benedict. Okay, are you familiar with what Eggs Benedict is, Mike?
Yes, I do. It's that horrible dictator that stole the breakfast from all the redcoats in South America.
All right, I'm glad we're on the right page. But yeah, I'm sure if y'all are familiar with it, it's Benedict. It's English muffin, Canadian bacon, which is just ham, poached egg, and then the big old hollandaise glob over it, which is just butter, lemon, yolk, deliciousness, cholesterol, heart attack on a plate. But you got to get every once in a while. It's delicious. And this breakfast place that I actually went to, they had like 8 different types of Benedicts, and I've been seeing a lot of like, this is kind of a common trend nowadays. Like what I just said was the traditional Benedict, but you'll go to places and now they have like a skinny Benedict where they'll put like spinach and tomato instead of the ham. I don't really know what that's changing, because they still put all the hollandaise on, which is literally just butter and yolk. There's also like there'll be like a Maryland style, which is like they'll put a crab cake instead of the ham. And I've seen like other variations where maybe it's like a sausage patty, and instead of the hollandaise, they do like sausage gravy over the thing or something like that. Anyways, my girlfriend ordered the standard Eggs Benny. I ordered I forget what it was called, but it was a specialty kind where it had smoked trout instead of the Canadian bacon. And then the hollandaise sauce actually had capers in it. So I think it was kind of almost going for like a bagels and lox type thing, which I've never had, but I know that has like smoked salmon and I think capers and cream cheese, maybe a tomato. But I thought that sounded delicious. I actually don't think I've ever had trout before, but I like fish. Smoked fish is good. And I really like capers. They're very salty, but It's very yummy to me. So I get my breakfast, and the gosh darn thing with this breakfast, and this is my curse because this actually happened before at a different breakfast establishment, is that every time I get these poached eggs, they are not cooked properly. They are overcooked. So you expect a poached egg to, like, you break into it and you get that nice, the egg-gasm of that yolk just dripping all over every part of your breakfast like yolk should be. It's amazing. But instead, I was greeted to almost like a hard-boiled egg type consistency. And not even a good, like, if you get ramen eggs, or you guys are familiar with that, the yolk is almost more like a custard, where it's like, it's thick, but it still looks like a runny yolk, and it's delicious. It wasn't even that. It was like that hard-boiled egg type of yolk. And, you know, I was like, oh, great, because this happened to me before. And I look over at my girlfriend. I'm like, well, how are your eggs? Are your eggs, like, messed up, or is it just me? And she has the perfect yolk spewing out all over her plate. And I'm just like, oh, great. I guess I don't know what I do here. I guess I just don't order Eggs Benedict ever again, specifically in Hershey, because no one knows how to cook a poached egg.
The damnedest thing.
And I hate to be the guy. Like, I didn't. They were like, oh, why don't you just send it back, Corey? Because they could tell I was, like, really upset about it. But I'm like, I don't like being that guy to send my food back. Not that I'm worried they're going to, like, spit in it or mess with it. But I'm just kind of like, I deal with what I've been dealt. And I honestly, like, it tasted good. Like, the hollandaise with the capers and the trout was delicious. But just that element of that, like, runny yolk, like, adds a lot to the Eggs Benedict itself. I don't know. It just upset me. And like I said, it happened at a different restaurant. I don't know what is this curse I've inherited of getting overcooked poached eggs in Hershey. I guess luckily it's very specific. Luckily it's not, oh, every time I go out to eat, there's something wrong with my plate. It's just, don't get Eggs Benedict in Hershey. Okay, got it.
It'd be funny if, like, for the rest of your life, you just always think to yourself, well, I can't go to Hershey or I'll never get a good poached egg.
Yeah.
I mean, why else do I go to Hershey? I don't go for the chocolate. I go for the eggs.
I'm about to get back in that kitchen and be like, let me just make them. I'll make poached eggs. It's not that hard, guys. Come on. They do.
I don't think I ever had a poached egg before.
Oh, really? Wow, you're missing out. You need to get some Eggs Benny. Go get that.
I know.
It's quite good.
I think I just remember watching, like, one of those, like, cooking channels, and I was laughing because I've heard of a poached egg before. And I just remember, like, the person's like, I make the best poached eggs. And then when he gave it to, like, the person to taste it, he's like, this is not a poached egg. And I just started laughing. I don't know what that was from. It was probably from, like, Hell's Kitchen or one of those shows.
I love those, like, little moments like that in cooking shows. There was a classic one that I've seen memed a few times from this show, Cutthroat Kitchen. And, like, the gimmick on that show is that, like, the contestants can kind of, like, spend their prize money on, like, nefarious, like, little, like, traps and punishments for the other chefs. And the one person had to serve basically, like, I'm trying to remember their full way of describing the plate. They're like, oh, I have this breaded piece of chicken breast that was lightly seared in a pan and then finished in the oven. And basically the chef who's, like, judging them is like, dude, this is just chicken nuggets. Like, they had to just dress up that they had, like, probably a frozen chicken nugget that they had to serve to him and be like, I don't know.
Eat it. I'm sorry, when you mentioned how, like, on that show they can, like, spend their money to get, like, trapped to, like, affect the other contestants.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, I'm gonna buy some rat poison, put that in his soup. Surely victory will be mine now.
The judge is like, that's an interesting. They just drop over dead.
Can you finish the sentence? Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, a good example. Like, sometimes they'll have to, like, replace, like, all their silverware with, like, plastic cutlery or something like that. Like, they can't use, like, knives while they're, like, trying to prepare their dishes or whatever. There have been, like, other times where, like, they have to replace like their whole like cooking station with like a tiny like children's fake like cooking. It's hilarious. If no one's ever looked up Cutthroat Kitchen, it's great. It's got my boy Alton Brown. I love him. All right. But that was my poached egg curse, specifically in Hershey. You know, Hershey known for their poached eggs, like you were just mentioning. And then, I just wanted to mention that, you know, Sunday was Easter, and I ended up spending pretty much most of my day out with my family, which was great. You know, we had the nice proper Easter dinner. We had a baked ham, had some potato filling, a bunch of vegetables. Grandma made green bean casserole. So good, so good.
Oh, man.
And I was shocked because, again, a little callback to last podcast, but I am still a grown-ass, hairy, 27-year-old man, but my mom still hid Easter eggs around her house and is like, go find them! Yay! Now, I will say this. She did #adulting the Easter eggs and put money in them, as well as mini like liquors, like those tiny little novelty bottles of like booze that you can get.
That's fun.
Yeah, so yeah, it was fun. I actually don't even know where they are. I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I don't know where we even put those things because your mom
grabbed them and then she's gonna hide them again for next year.
She'll just keep them as like stocking stuffers for Christmas this year, and I'll be like, oh, I was looking for that. Wait a minute.
I had liquor balls just like this. You know, at Easter time.
Yeah, but that was fun. And of course, like they also always get us like little Easter baskets still, which is kind of what I was mentioning again about like I don't eat all these sweets, but I mean I guess it's appreciated, and I'm definitely gonna eat a lot more of these because I have very little self-control. They were quite good. Yeah, another thing I did want to mention is that I actually got to go see my grandfather for Easter. Usually every like holiday we'll go to like my mom's side of the family, and then we'll go to my dad's, which is at my grandfather's. And I really didn't get to see my grandfather too much last year because of everything with the coronavirus going on and the quarantine. I only got to see him once. So it was really nice to actually get to see him again this year. He got both of his COVID vaccines. So, and for my girlfriend, Megan, this is the first time she's seen my grandpa since 2019. So it was nice to actually get to like sit down with him and catch up. And I can tell it's always like really nice for him because he lives by himself, which is sad. So every time I get to go out there and see him and just shoot the shit with him, it means a lot to me because I know it means a lot to him.
Oh, that's very nice.
But with that being said, that was pretty much what I did. That's not like video games or media and stuff like that. Do you got anything you want to add, Mike, before we start this bitch?
Sure. I'll just say I also had a nice little Easter weekend. Saturday was mainly just me doing stuff around the house and organizing the collector's vault over here. Everything was pretty messy, but I've been reorganizing my site and consolidating my stuff, my cards. But yeah, mainly Sunday we had a very nice brunch. And I think I had to explain some of these foods to you because they are mouth-watering.
Ooh.
So Amanda made like 5 different things to eat for our little brunch, and she made I remember off the top of my head, but she did make like a big French toast bake. So it wasn't like actual pieces of French toast, but it was like kind of like monkey bread almost, but in like a big like long not bowl, how just
like a pan or something.
Yeah. So that was delicious.
My mouth's watering already.
Yep. Her mother, her mom and dad came over for the brunch, and they brought they always make this. It's like a spinach and egg quiche. It's really good. And I hear Corey just typing away right now. Spinach and egg quiche.
You know, I don't mean to take a tangent off of that right away, but I need to look into that. That was something because I actually just small tangent here. I was streaming Fortnite, like I said the other day. And I was playing on PC, and I noticed that, you know, I'm getting a lot of keyboard interference, so I need to look into adjusting my mic sensitivity so you can't hear the clickety-clackety of my Razer Black Widow keyboard or whatever the fuck this thing's called.
Oh, man. No worries. But yeah, so there was that, and She made little breakfast sliders, which are really cool. So like kind of like those like White Castle like hamburger buns, and they had egg, sausage, and bacon on them, and they were phenomenal.
Wow. She really went all out. I'm impressed.
Yeah. And I guess some people call these things like home like hash browns. Like the breakfast potatoes. She made some of those, and then she made cinnamon buns.
Okay.
And yes, I had all of this. I definitely indulged myself.
That sounds amazing. I gotta pull out of your story real quick and just ask you, what is the dignification between a home fry and a hash brown to you?
I'm very glad you asked this. So here's how I always interpreted it. A hash brown, I thought hash browns are like the fried potatoes that come out like breaded, kind of like tater tots. That's the best way I can describe it. To me, a hash brown is just a giant tater tot.
Uh-huh.
And home fries are when you have like the baked like potatoes that are like either they're like diced or they're like chopped up and like shredded,
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times people will call that hash brown and call like the baked tater tots home fries. So apparently it kind of goes both ways with people. Like I'm not quite sure. Like it's kind of like ketchup and catsup.
Mm-hmm.
People just call one or the other.
I feel like for me, I could take it either way, but home fries, I almost instinctively think of like, what you're saying, like the potatoes like chopped up or sliced up. And usually they're with like onions and sometimes peppers too, or mixed in, and like they're made on like a griddle.
Yep, but I totally agree. To me, those are home fries, and I think hash browns are like tater tots, just big.
I feel like the distinction that kind of throws me off is like that if you take a potato and you like just shred it like grated cheese, and then you kind of put that on a grill and you almost like make it like a little potato pancake type of thing. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that kind of like throws me in a loop, because I feel like my head wants to say that's a hash brown, but I want to say it's more like a home fry, so I almost want to call it a hash brown, but I think it is technically home fries.
All right, well, look here, home fry. I'll tell you what I think. But I'll tell you something that really like triggered me. When I was at work, and this is before the pandemic started, like I would sometimes go over and get some breakfast at the cafeteria that's on site, and I enjoyed the breakfast. I would just get some very very basic like eggs and bacon, but I would also let them get their tater tots. The problem is you ordered at a kiosk, and then you go pick your food up at the counter, but when you want to order your tater tots, you have to. The button is called what's it called? It's called breakfast potatoes.
Oh,
so you click on it, and like 7 out of 10 times you will get tater tots. The other 3 times you get home fries, and you never knew what it was. So you would think, and personally, I like tater tots more than home fries. So it's funny because in this situation, like I never knew what I was going to get, and even though majority of the time I got tater tots. And you would think, then it's more in my favor. That's true, but then it made it all the more disappointing when I ordered it and I got home fries. I'm like, these aren't the breakfast potatoes I wanted.
Just the idea of breakfast potatoes, that's almost like those blister packs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards you'll see at like Dollar General, where it's just like 10 cards in there, and it's like, who knows what you're gonna find? There's one hollow card in there,
God, I hate this.
Like it's literally just completely random.
Yeah, like they just found the cards that like fell under like the shelf, and said, just throw them in a little blister pack, and someone will buy it.
For all you know, you could get like a baked potato or like a scoop of mashed potatoes. Be like, excuse me.
I'll prefer that than some of the cards I've gotten in those things. I've bought in those things out of curiosity to think, because there have been times where at like I think it was actually at the Target up near in Reading, they had like those like Target made blister packs, and sometimes they would tease you and they would have one card being shown,
right?
Like they would have the one card turn around, and it was like, oh look, here's a hollow. And one time it was an actual valuable card, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So because they didn't know it was a card that was actually worth money, so that was really funny. But normally you don't get those. I get just like, oh look at this, just complete bulk and garbage.
Also, I got one more question about all these breakfast dishes, and this isn't to diminish your fiance at all, but like, what's the ratio to like making it from scratch and just getting like pre-made stuff?
No, she makes everything. She makes everything.
Oh wow, even the cinnamon rolls?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, no. Those. You got me there. The cinnamon rolls. Well, they came like pre-made. Wait, no. Did she make them herself? I don't remember. I don't remember if they were like the Pillsbury ones. They might have been Pillsbury stuff, like the Pillsbury ones that you roll yourself, but the material's all there.
Right. And
then she iced them herself.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like that seems like a lot of work. So I'd be like very impressed if she made cinnamon rolls like from scratch because I've never seen that before.
Yeah, she ground the cinnamon herself too. She went out to the cinnamon fields and she gathered all the cinnamon.
She got all the wheat for the dough, and then she like ground it in like a stone and mortar.
Yeah. Wait, did you hear or did you watch the video where a guy did that? He actually wanted to make a chicken sandwich completely from scratch, where like he raised the chicken and chopped it up and did all that to get chicken breast. And he grew the wheat, he grew the vegetables for the lettuce, and I think he slaughtered a pig for the bacon. Like he did everything by himself. And he said it was the most expensive chicken sandwich I ever had in my entire life.
And guess what? I bet the one from Popeyes still tastes better.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think the worst part was in the end. He said it tasted horrible.
Guys, just ingest the chemicals and processed foods that they provide you.
Yeah. Support local businesses, folks. Support your local grocery store.
Actually, some of that stuff is like fascinating to me. I remember once I saw this like TikTok where this dude, he was like somewhere in the middle of the woods and he like made his own like pasta from scratch, and then he like made his own little Alfredo sauce. And I don't know if he like killed like a chicken, but he definitely had like chicken breast there, and he was like making it in like a cast iron pan over an open flame. And I'm like, this is like really impressive, but this had to have taken him all day to like make the pasta and set up the like fire and get it to the right temperature.
Yeah, it doesn't sound worth it when you just. It's kind of. I'm getting reminded of those videos you see where like someone like, yeah, I'm gonna make a house in the woods from scratch, and it's like just made of like mud and rocks and dirt. And yeah, it's cool to watch, but it's like, dude, why would you? Why? Are you ever gonna live in this like mud hut? Like,
yeah, what's your Wi-Fi password in the mud hut?
Like,
where's your Nespresso machine?
I sound terrible for saying that because I'm pretty sure like there are some third world countries where people will be like, yeah, this is great. I can finally I can build myself my own house. But like when you look at it and you see but when you see like a guy from like California do it, like, yeah, I just built a big mud hut in the woods. It's like, okay, cool. Are you actually gonna live here? Like, no, I'm gonna go back to my house in California. Like, oh, yeah,
I could live in the mud hut.
Yeah, or I can just go home and get my unemployment check, and then Oh, that was inappropriate. Edit that out, Corey. Edit it out before people yell at me.
Oh, we don't edit anything out here.
Oh no, but now the people in California are gonna be mad at me.
I had some other comment, but now it's lost in the aether. So
sorry.
That's okay. With that being said, hello everyone, and welcome to Level With Me Podcast, episode 89. I am one of your hosts, Game Bro Corey, and I am joined by my co-host Mike, aka the Collector's Vault. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing pretty good, Corey. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level With Me. I am the third host, Mike. The second host, Gregorio. I'm not sure where he is. I think he's lost. So I'm number 2 now. I got promoted from number 3 to number 2.
Yeah, Gregorio. He was really problematic. He literally kept walking around the podcast studio with no pants, even though I clearly told him many times, can you please wear pants, bro?
Let's just say he liked home fries more than tater tots. He was not working out over here.
And guys, can you believe this? He ordered a pizza and it didn't have meatballs on it.
Oh my gosh, that's like grounds for termination immediately.
I felt like he just slapped my mother right in the face. Oy vey. But yes, the Level With Me podcast, the number 1 video game podcast in the world. We have some video game news for you this week. Although the week has been, You know, we kind of delayed our podcast last week by a few days because we had, just life got in the way.
Yeah, it's all my fault, guys. You can yell at me later if you want to.
Just yell at Gregorio.
Oh, yeah. Darn you, Gregorio.
But, yeah, there's not too much news going on, but that's okay. We're still going to have fun. We're going to talk about what limited stuff was announced. And before we get into, the video game news, we're going to talk about some other news happening in the world that I think is kind of funny or interesting. So first off here, Mike, have you seen the new Space Jam: A New Legacy trailer?
Don't get me started on this stupid trailer.
Please get started. That is the whole point of the podcast.
It is so disappointing. I don't like it. Maybe I'm skeptical. Again, I'm a 90s kid, so obviously everyone's like, oh, you only like the Michael Jordan one. And I'm going to slap you across the face and be like, yes, because that movie is amazing. It's terrible now as an adult watching it, but as a kid, for a kid's movie, it's amazing. This movie it tries way too hard to appeal to kids and to our generation who grew up with Space Jam, and it's not the same. It's not the same. I
mean, if I would have to describe this trailer with one word, I would go with clusterfuck.
Yes.
What I agree with you. I watched this trailer and I definitely do want to check out the movie because I'm an idiot and I like watching bad movies.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm an idiot and I like to be disappointed, so I'm going to go watch this movie.
But I don't like the concept from the get-go where LeBron James is kind of entering this server world that's just full of all these Warner Brother IPs. I remember in the trailer they go past the Game of Thrones world where it actually has it's the intro to Game of Thrones. It's and it's and these passing other worlds. It's almost the Ready Player One / Fortnite / Super Smash Brothers thing where they're it's just a clusterfuck. And why the first okay, so when this was being not in development and they were talking about what this movie was, I heard there were mentionings of oh, there's going to be Fred Flintstone and the Flintstones are going to be in this, or oh, these other animated characters are going to be in the thing or in the movie, and I'm like, okay, well sure, they can do that because I didn't watch that last Scooby-Doo movie. I think it was just called Scoob, but I know they had the blue, or what's that dude's name? Is it the Blue Falcon or whatever that old Hanna-Barbera superhero was, and then Captain Caveman is in there. So it seems like they're almost building to this Hanna-Barbera verse, and that's another problem with Hollywood. They're doing too much. Everyone wants to be the MCU, but that's another subject to talk about. Here, I'm saying, it's just there's way too much going on. They have just all these properties and they're just throwing them in here. And there are many breakdowns of the trailer out there where they're oh, you can see Jim Carrey's The Mask in this scene. Oh, you can see what's his name? Danny DeVito penguin next to the animated penguin from. It's just why are they all here? Why are they all here watching this Space Jam basketball game?
Yeah, because technically the first one, it was the Looney Tunes world, but it was the Looney Tunes world. Everything in there was a Looney Tunes character. It wasn't well, this is just Warner Brothers, the Warner Brothers universe. No, that's not what Space Jam was. I don't know. It's just too much. Again, you're right. It is Ready Player One, and it just wants people to be I remember what that is. Oh my God, look, it's that character from my childhood. Yeah, it is good on nostalgia, and I'm sorry, it's too much. It's trying way too hard.
Something that
and they know it too, in my opinion.
Something that I did actually like about the trailer is I do like the bit where LeBron goes into the actual Looney Tunes world and it becomes just a really nice 2D animated Looney Tunes movie. And I thought it was charming how LeBron lands and he's short and he kind of blows himself back to. I like that kind of stuff. I was I'm liking this. I'm kind of liking this 2D version of it. It looks nice. Lola Bunny's there, so the internet and DeviantArt can rejoice. Although they really took out a lot of her curves.
I was gonna say, if anything, they're gonna rant and riot and then edit her appearance in the DeviantArt forums because they want to say this is what Lola should look like. And all the moms will be upset. Like, no, I don't want my children looking at a rabbit with curves.
Do you have any final comments on this before I drop the one bombshell about this trailer?
Michael Jordan's better. That's all I'm gonna say.
I wonder
what's the final bomb?
Okay, but before that, I actually wonder if Michael Jordan will make an appearance in the movie at all.
I honestly hope Michael Jordan doesn't make a cameo appearance.
People were even saying they wonder if Bill Murray will be in this movie because he was.
Oh gosh, Bill Murray would do that. Like, I'm back, guys.
Bill Murray. Okay, guys. Anyone who's a big Bill Murray head out there, let him go. He's very old. He doesn't want to be in movies anymore. He had his prime time, his heyday. He made a lot of good movies. He's done, all right? All these old people, they don't need to keep making movies. Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Harrison Ford. You guys are done, all right? You don't need this extra digit on your billions that you have. I don't know. I guess it's their opinion, but I don't see it. Okay, you want the bombshell? All right?
Yeah.
Ready for this? So, if y'all remember, about a week or two ago, there was a lot of controversy about how this movie was not going to have Pepe Le Pew in it because I guess he's a quote-unquote problematic character. Well, again, going to this theme of Space Jam: A New Legacy, where they're bringing in all these random IPs that Warner Brother owns for no reason, there's a shot that you can see right alongside the basketball court. There are the fucking thug gang from A Clockwork Orange. And for those of you who aren't familiar with A Clockwork Orange, there's a very brutal rape scene in that movie. So what the fuck are they doing over there at Warner Brothers?
They're idiots.
It literally just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's not consistent at all. I saw that, and then I didn't see it at first because there's so many characters there. I saw someone on Twitter say, "Oh, look, the Clockwork Orange guys are there," and then they again.
We all remember that whole great scene. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, everybody. Pepe Le Pew will not be shown in our movie. He is very offensive to women who are victimized, and he degrades the characters of women. Anyway, now back to the number one song in America, WAP.
Oh ho ho! I know you can smell me. That is not the legal marijuana in Nevada. Ho ho ho.
2 points.
I don't know how I made that compare. I tried. Okay, let's talk about video games. Who cares about Clockwork Orange and Space Jam: A New Legacy and Pepe Le Pew? Whatever, dude.
Michael Jordan's better. He has more rings.
They came, they went, they're done. Video games.
Video games.
I really wanted my... I'm trying... I'll get more into this later, but I'm trying to make my scene on Twitch, I'm trying to blow up there, trying to grow as a community on Twitch and meet other, people who have similar interests, kind of create, a little family for level with me and everyone. And for some reason, this MFer, Jimmy Fallon, thinks he has to come on to Twitch and steal everyone's thunder. Jimmy Fallon to make Twitch debut with Among Us stream, of course. Jimmy Fallon, the host of The Tonight Show, will make his Twitch streaming debut tomorrow. Actually, it's today, at April 6th at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard. I guess he's live right now as we're doing this podcast with a few other celebrities.
Well, sucks for him because all his fans are listening to us.
Yeah, it's just a head scratcher to me. I don't understand why Jimmy Fallon is making a Twitch account. To me right now, it's just screaming that he has to connect with the kids. How do I reach these kids? Oh, Twitch. Oh, Among Us.
Why did you have him turn into Pepe Le Pew for a second?
Well, I that was the reference from that South Park episode where Cartman's that teacher and he goes how do I reach these kids?
Right. Okay, that's funny.
But yeah, I just think it's weird. I mean, Jimmy Fallon, he's had Reggie on his show a few times, showing off the Switch. I remember a few years ago. He just, I don't know. He doesn't strike me as this. Just definitely seems trying to grab eyes of younger viewers to be hey, Jimmy Fallon, go watch The Tonight Show or whatever he does. I don't even fucking know.
unpopular opinion. I actually am not a fan of Jimmy Fallon. I never really found him to be funny. Like, I mean, even like when he was on, like when he was on SNL or when he had like his random movies. Like, I just never found him to be quite funny, and that's why it bothers me that like he took over the Tonight Show. And I understand people love Jimmy Fallon, and like that's fine, but I just don't see it. I just don't see the appeal.
I can get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I just don't think he's funny, and that's just my opinion on it.
He's a little bland for my taste as well. But
yeah,
okay.
And again, the whole Twitch thing is like him just pandering to be like, yeah, I have no idea what Twitch is or how Twitch works, but I'm going to do this because that's what the fans want.
Guys, if you want to listen to more Jimmy Fallon hate, you can go over to our new podcast. It's called We Hate Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. And then I actually am starting a new TV show. It's called Everybody Hates Jimmy Fallon.
These are both working titles. We'll have something more clean next week for you.
Yeah, we just need we just need more funding. So please, donate to our Patreon.
Speaking of new funding, I wish we had a Patreon. We don't. Speaking of new funding, this is actually good news. E3 2021. It's happening. Plans announced. Xbox and Nintendo are involved, but Sony, I don't know where those guys are. The Electronic Software Association has announced its plans for the first digital-only E3, which will include Nintendo and Xbox.
Oh, boy.
Taking place from June 12th to 15th, E3 2021 is confirmed to include appearances from Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami. They make games?
They make video games?
Hey, we made the same joke. Fist bump through the mic. Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Warner Brothers Games, and Koch Media. I believe that's the people behind, they own, GTA. I think they own a bunch of different companies. Sony is conspicuous, but its absence on the... excuse me, I'm getting, Porky Pig over here. Sony is conspicuous, but its absence on that list, and we've contacted the company for comment. Other major missing companies include EA, which has recently preferred to host its own EA Play event. That's right. Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, Tencent, 505, and Activision Blizzard.
Admittedly, I'm a little upset that Sega and Square Enix and Bandai Namco are not attending. EA and Activision Blizzard are just a bunch of losers. I really don't care about... Well, I kind of care about Activision Blizzard, but EA, good riddance. Get out of here.
It's honestly a head-scratcher why they wouldn't want to attend. I mean, from the very little information I know about the E3 and, the ESA, the people who run it, I know, a lot of these, spaces can be very expensive, but I'd actually be interested to know how much these companies necessarily have to pay with it being a digital only event. I don't know if that necessarily means that they're going to have a physical thing, but only the people from Nintendo will be showing off their Nintendo products, or people from Microsoft will be showing off Xbox products, or if this necessarily will just be a long Nintendo Direct, but here's Nintendo's hour, here's Microsoft's hour, here's Capcom's hour.
I'd be fine with that personally.
Same here, bro. But again, that's why it's a head scratcher that these other companies wouldn't want to be involved. The only thing I guess that stands out to me, other than what I said about the money, is maybe they all also want to promote their own streaming service type things. For example, Sony has their State of Plays, where they usually announce all their new games or new updates for games coming out. And the article mentioned, EA had EA Play for E3. That was kind of their E3 presence. Square Enix recently had their own Nintendo Direct type of stream. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just personally really happy that E3 is a thing again. And I think I agree. What really makes this exciting is the fact that Nintendo is going to be there, because I'm going to quote one of the people I follow on Twitter. His name is Imran Khan. He's a games journalist. He said, now that Nintendo is at E3, they have to tell us something, right? They're at E3.
I admit. This is the time for the big announcements. Metroid Prime 4.
Maybe that Switch Pro.
Oh, that'd be a great
Breath of the Wild 2. Maybe the last two Smash DLC characters.
Yeah. Remember, this is also the anniversary, the 35th 35th anniversary. Yes, the 35th anniversary for Zelda and Metroid.
That's
at the
correct.
very least, they have to do something for Zelda.
That's correct.
I've been disappointed enough that I accept the fact that Metroid will get no love, but I'm still hopeful.
Here you go, guys. Here's a set of collectible pins. Happy anniversary, Zelda.
But by the way, these pins cost $500. just take my money.
And you can only get them through the Nintendo official link on the Nintendo official website at this time, which is probably when you're working and no real human being is able to be on their computer or phone.
And they're only available for 6 months. Memes.
Hey, speaking of memes, Microsoft to make Xbox Series X mini fridges after winning the hashtag Best of Tweets championship. Xbox has won Twitter's first ever hashtag Best of Tweet brand bracket championship, and after a promise from Xbox Aaron Greenberg, will be making Xbox Series X mini fridges for the public. This is all true. The meme is real. Everyone was like, this thing looks like a fridge. Well, guess what, guys? Now you can just get the Xbox fridge. I don't know if it's going to play 4K games. I don't know if they're going to be able to play Halo Infinite on the Xbox mini fridge. But it's
how busy would that be if it actually was like an actual Xbox? Like it's
that would actually be insane.
Yeah, you'll hear no complaining from me, sir. I'll be laughing my butt off.
I would actually love if, like, every time you open the fridge, it kind of plays, like, that Xbox noise, like, when you would start up, like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It'd be even better if when it broke, it had the red ring of death.
Also, of course, all the lights in there have to be green, and I assume the only things that are stocked in this fridge are, of course, Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a meatball pizza or two.
Well, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Personal preference, you know.
Let's see. Does it say how much this fridge is going to be? They probably didn't announce the price yet. I mean, it's a mini fridge. It honestly looks kind of big. I don't know if that just is how big the Xbox One or Xbox Series X is. There's a picture on Aaron Greenberg's Twitter if they all want to go look that up. But that's funny. All right. So moving on here. I thought this was actually kind of interesting. Marvel's Avengers, Borderlands 3, and The Long Dark join PlayStation Now this week. Sony has announced that Marvel's Avengers, Borderlands 3, and The Long Dark will be arriving on PlayStation Now on April 6th, 2021. And so the main significance here of this story, PlayStation Now has always been around. PlayStation Now is kind of like Sony's version of like Game Pass, where it's kind of like the Netflix of games, like the actual Netflix of games, where it's like you can pick piecemeal like what games you want to like install to your PS4 or PS5, and then you can like play them. And I think that it's significant seeing Marvel's Avengers and Borderlands 3 on here, considering those are like very new games. So I think this is like good steps for Sony, because they're actually starting to, I think, recognize that Xbox Game Pass is huge and is just growing with more great games, considering Microsoft just bought Bethesda. They put like all the Bethesda games up on Game Pass, and all like the new Bethesda games, as well as still all like the new Microsoft first party games will just go on Game Pass day one. I think this is great. And I think this is showing that Sony is going to be more incentivized to put newer games on here and, you know, create like just an overall better product for consumers. So this is a big thumbs up from me. You can determine if you think those games are good or not, Borderlands 3 and Avengers. But I think this is great. This is like a good starting point. All right. Next up here, there's just another like kind of weird story, but I thought it was kind of neat. Apex Legends Season 9 to feature, quote, a ton of Titanfall content. While we haven't got a proper entry in the Titanfall series since 2016, Apex Legends' 9th season is set to have, quote, a ton of Titanfall coming back into the game one way or another, unquote. As reported by Dextero, a number of Apex Legends developers from Respawn appeared on a panel hosted by Brown Girl Gamer Code. I don't know what the hell that is. That sounds kind of weird. and discussed how Titanfall fans have some really cool stuff to look forward to. This is a quote from Apex Legends game director Chad Grenier. Next season, Season 9, you're actually going to see a ton of Titanfall coming back into the game in one way or another. I've told some people before, if you're a Titanfall fan, hang on for Season 9 because there's going to be some really cool stuff there. I think all the hopes and dreams is that they finally just put Titans in the game. I think that'd be really interesting, or like a very small scale version of Titans. Because I actually played a little bit of the original Titanfall, and that game was super cool. And from what I understand, Titanfall 2 was like incredible. Like it had a really good single player mode. It had like a really good multiplayer mode. It was just kind of launched in a weird window. Like I feel like EA really put it out to die, considering it was launched, I think, like a week before Battlefield 5, and I think it was even like it was sandwiched between the new Call of Duty for the year and Battlefield. So it's kind of like a shitty thing for EA to do. But I think this is really cool. I'm a fan of Titanfall. I want Titanfall to continue on. I think Respawn makes fantastic products. You know, we usually don't cover like all the updates for every battle royale out there. I just wanted to point this one out because I saw the words Titanfall and I got excited. That's really all there is for there. We're going to move on here. Now we have a very controversial story here about something that's just been in the gaming presence for the past few years now. Links between loot boxes and problem gambling, quote, robustly verified in new report. A new report from researchers at the universities of Plymouth and Wolverhampton have discovered that loot boxes, quote, are structurally and psychologically akin to gambling, unquote. As reported by BBC, this new research was commissioned by the Gamble Aware charity, and some of the results discovered include the following. Of the 93% of children who play video games, up to 40% open loot boxes. About 5% of gamers generate half the entire revenue from the boxes. 12 out of 13 studies on the topic have established, quote, unambiguous connections to problem gambling behavior. Young men are the most likely to use loot boxes, with young age and lower education correlating with increased uses. The study also found that many games use a psychological nudge, which encourages those to purchase loot boxes in an attempt to install the fear of missing out on limited time items or deals. Like I said, this has just been a problem throughout the gaming community for the past few years now. One of the biggest grievances with this is looking back at UEA with Star Wars Battlefront 2, with the loot boxes literally having things that would affect the gameplay, and they would drastically make your character better, or make the cooldowns on some of the character abilities way less. It was just a horrible way to do it.
It became pay to win, which is never fun.
Essentially, yeah. And you've seen a lot of these loot boxes and other video games out there. Overwatch is promoted on here. There's even games like CSGO where there was a big thing about that game with opening the boxes and trying to get the higher tier skins. And there was skin gambling, and the skins could go for hundreds of thousands of dollars, or the knives and stuff like that. I mean, realistically, this article shouldn't surprise anyone, because I do believe this is all true, and I do think this is a problem, and the gaming community has to kind of come to some sort of terms with this type of stuff. I did just start playing FORTNITE, but I honestly think the way FORTNITE kind of handles this stuff is the way it should be, where it should just be you buy all the cosmetics piecemeal. Granted, you're going to end up probably spending a lot of money, because you can probably go look at FORTNITE, and I'm sure there are people who have hundreds, if not thousands, of skins and cosmetic items. But at least you're guaranteed to get the item you actually want to pay for.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you were saying too, definitely don't put any game-altering items in these loot boxes, because that really leads to the incentive to actually want to keep buying the loot boxes.
Exactly.
And I do agree with the article or the quote they said about the fear of missing out. I think that's really bad with gamers to begin with, especially even just like playing games. Like I've talked about how I have my immense backlog, and I feel bad if I'm not like playing certain games here or there, but then other times my friends are saying like, "Oh, come play these games with us." And all like a problem is like all these games also want you to be playing them all the damn time. So, I'll shout out Apex Legends like we were just talking about. They want you to complete that battle pass. And then Fortnite, they want you to complete that battle pass. Overwatch wants you to play during this specific time when they have these events. And sometimes these events are like a week or like a few days. So it's very wishy-washy, like jumping around. And then you also have to balance like just single-player games like coming in there. Like something like, Monster Hunter Rise, you can play like multiplayer or single player, but that's, something like that, or something like a new like Sony first-party game. It's kind of egregious, and I think it does definitely need to be like looked at with a magnifying glass and like adjusted.
Yes. Indubitably, old chum.
Yeah, I was gonna say sorry. I kind of talked there a lot.
No, it's okay. I agree with you. I really do.
All right.
I would say like, I'm sorry. I was just gonna chime in and say, yeah, I agree. Like when it comes to anything like just that, when it comes, again, I'm a guy who likes collectible cardboard, which is also like gambling. When it comes to the whole booster pack concept, but I do think like when it comes to things that like really, I don't know, because the same thing can be even said about like. It's just, I think this is kind of relevant because, like, take a game like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, because you're obviously familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh. If you want the better cards that will help you win, you usually have to pay for them,
Right.
So I wonder if, like, although I agree with everything that you're saying, just thinking about... sorry, my voice is getting all raspy. That's my smoking I'm doing, guys. Sorry. I was just in Nevada, so I was smoking a lot. Anyway, like, so despite the fact that I agree with everything that you just said, then I then looked at something like collectible trading card games, and in the end, the secondary market is kind of where you can spend like a crap ton of money to have the better cards and to be better at the game almost. You know? It's weird where I think that's acceptable, but I think what they're doing with the video game loot boxes is not acceptable. I don't have a reason for that. For why I feel that way. It's weird.
For some reason, I feel like the cards are like in a different situation because like at the end of the day, you do have a physical good. Some of those cards though are worth like just pennies or like nothing, but like you do still have something where like I think there's there could be a different case here because it's almost like a fucking like NFT. Like it's just nothing. It's just a digital good, Yeah.
That's very, that's a very good point, Corey. Also, like, it's a physical piece of, it's a physical collectible. So you can actually properly like resell it. It's a good,
right?
Or like it's goods, as opposed to just data, which could always be, just it doesn't really exist, So that that's kind of what I always feel about like online card games, like a game like Hearthstone. It's a fun game. I love it, but like I would try not to spend too much money on it because you're not getting that money back. You can't resell Hearthstone cards. You know what I'm saying?
It's also like a really interesting, like this is a interesting like topic to talk about, but like could you even imagine if like Yu-Gi-Oh was like, okay guys, we're actually not gonna sell packs anymore. We're literally gonna sell every card piecemeal. And, like, could you imagine, like, almost like the secondary market where they'd be like, okay, here's our copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon going up right now. And let's just say Blue Eyes was, like, the best card. And just all the people, like, scalped it immediately. And then, again, the secondary market, like, just flourishes with it. It's kind of like a big, like, ball of yarn. Like, it's hard to kind of, like... I guess it doesn't really relate to the loot boxes. That's just kind of an interesting thing to think about, like, card games, for example.
Yeah. That'd be a great thing to talk about when we do that little interview.
That's
regarding
a good
card
point.
Games.
Yeah, I should jot that down.
Yeah, look forward to that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. But yeah, I think we can close the door on that and just continue to our next articles here. Loot boxes are bad. I'll just blanket statement that. I don't like them.
I agree.
But now we're going to wrap up our news with the Nintendo news. You know, here at Level With Me Podcast, we love Nintendo so much that we always like to save all the news for the end. It's like a dessert for us. Now, unfortunately, in my opinion, the biggest Nintendo news was the E3 thing, but I wanted to open with that because, you know, E3 is encompassing a lot of different video game things. So
not just Nintendo.
Yeah, we have two minor Nintendo stories here, but I think they're interesting to talk about. So first of all here, we have Isabelle and Tom Nook are coming to Build-A-Bear workshops across the nation. And guess what, guys? You can't even get them. They're already sold out.
Typical.
But yes, they're quite cute. You know, I feel like Nintendo has been having like a nice like collaboration with Build-A-Bear. You know, they always have like a bunch of different Pokemon going in there. Although now I'm like kind of like zoning out now, where I'm like, well, technically, I guess the Pokemon company would be giving them that kind of stuff, not Nintendo. But I want to say they might have did like a Mario thing before at Build-A-Bear. And but anyways, like, to me, this just makes sense. Like, yeah, Isabelle and Tom Nook, like, they look great. They're wearing their, like, Animal Crossing New Horizons outfits, and I'm sure you can actually, like, dress them up in, like, a bunch of other things, because that's kind of just what Build-A-Bear is. But like I said, right now, they're completely sold out, and there was actually an update here from, I believe, like, Build-A-Bear Online. Well, this is just what the IGN article says. Both Isabelle and Tom Nook are now sold out, though Build-A-Bear reassures they will return, in quotes, soon. The digital queue to buy them lasted for over 3 hours, and even those who were in line right when it started weren't guaranteed to get a chance to buy either. Oh my goodness. Guys, guys, it is a fucking mess right now if you just want to get anything online.
Anything that just comes out, even whether it be video game consoles, collectible cards, Build-A-Bear toys, or whatever. It's
really egregious right now, and it's definitely one of the downsides and maybe even the downfalls of the pandemic, which is quite
stupid
sad.
Those darn stimulus checks,
right?
Giving everybody this. Oh my gosh, my voice again. Ugh, darn Nevada weed. It just gives everybody all this buying power. It's insane.
And you know, I definitely send out my blessings if any of y'all out there are trying to get either of these Build-A-Bear models. They are really nicely done. I actually am on the Build-A-Bear site right now looking at them. I didn't realize that they're actually like $50 a stuffed animal. That's kind of crazy.
Jesus.
But they are pretty big. I think it might be like I feel like they're almost like 2 feet. Like they're pretty big, like stuffed animal. And they're pretty accurate with like the detail and stuff to them. They're nicely done, but yeah, again, my blessings that they're trying to get that. Speaking of stimulus and money and Nintendo items, Super Mario Bros. Sealed copy breaks auction record, becomes most valuable game collectible ever.
Oh boy.
Ever. An incredibly rare plastic sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. For the NES has sold at an auction for a world record breaking $660,000 US. That hefty price tag makes it the most expensive price ever paid for a video game collectible. The copy of Super Mario Bros. Sold this week by Heritage Auctions is a copy from the game's 4th printing run. This means that it did not have the, quote, Game Pack NES GP, unquote, code and is missing the, quote, TM trademark symbol normally seen to the right of the Nintendo Entertainment System, which was officially added to all black boxes in early 1987. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know about any of that stuff because I have never even once looked at trying to collect original NES games in boxes. But yes, this copy of Super Mario Brothers, I just want to mention, guys, that if you own a Nintendo Switch or literally any device, you could probably play the original Super Mario Brothers on NES.
It's in everything.
Some way you can play it. You could get Soulja Boy's new video game console. I'm sure there'll be like 20 different versions of Super Mario Brothers on there. But this is wild. Literally more than $500,000.
I'm impressed.
It is really nice, and there is an image here on the IGN article where it looks like it got a 9.6 grading scale. I don't know where this was graded, but
I think it's from Wada. I've heard of this company before.
Okay.
A little bit of a backstory. Apparently, Wada is trying to become like a grading company, and they want to become like not with like trading cards like PSA and Beckett and CGC. This is more like they want to get into video game grading. And there was a big thing where this actually there was a person who went to Pawn Stars, and he brought a Super Mario Brothers but his edition was apparently the special original release when they first brought it over to the United States.
Oh, wow.
And they say that there was and they say the way you can determine it is that there is no plastic wrap around the box, but there's a circle. There's like a circle piece of tape, a circular piece of tape.
Oh wow, yeah.
In the middle of the box, like where the lid is. And apparently, that's supposed to be like the rarest version of the original game because it is like think of it as like first edition. That's kind of what it's supposed to symbolize. And this guy, again, he went on Pawn Stars, and I'm sure part of it was just like a promotional thing for Wada. But apparently, he wanted $1 million for his Mario Bros. Game. I don't even know what the heck the grade was, but. So this one being what they say is the Game Pack NES GP with that missing, or no, this means it did not have the Game Pack NES GP code and is missing the trademark symbol normally seen to the right. Oh, I see. Okay, because I see trademark over or next to Mario Brothers. So I'm looking at. I'm sorry for the listeners. I'm just looking at this picture right here, and but yeah. So that is insane, but. Yeah, that's what Wada is. I think they're trying to become popular now with grading sealed video games, which is funny because how do you grade a sealed video game? Yeah, it's sealed all right, 9.6.
It could be dust in there for all they know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's more like, oh, are there any dents to the box? It's just like any kind of grading company. It's pretty subjective. I personally, I would just be impressed with it being. Still sealed or wrapped in the plastic, that's a miracle in and of itself. And if anything, it being graded in this box is just a good way to protect it. I would say, but that's my two cents.
Controversial opinion. I think the original artwork on Super Mario Brothers, the box, is horrible.
Well, shame on you, Corey. I think it's amazing.
I mean, even
though it looks like Mario's clearly falling in the lava.
That's what I was going to say. That's just the ongoing joke that, yeah, he's falling in lava and also about to get hit by, one of Bowser's, fireballs or something like that.
I think it's his fireball, and I think his fireball clipped through the castle wall or something. It actually looks like he's, dashing and, jumping into the wall. He's kind of like a cartoon character splatting into the wall and then falling back into the lava.
I also think it's kind of weird how, I mean, I guess back in the day when they were first, discovering video games and what they would put, a genre on the box. So it says Action Series for Super Mario Brothers, whatever that means.
Those fools. We all know it's a 2D platformer.
Right,
2D
exactly.
platformer series.
Come on, Nintendo.
I'm trying to think, what else did they have back then? The Action Series, the Mystery Series, the Horror Series. I don't know.
I'm kind of curious. I want to look that up almost.
To any of our listeners who are video game not just enthusiasts, but very knowledgeable of the history of video games, please let us know if you know any of the different series that are listed on NES boxes. What did you find, Corey?
Yeah, we'll just leave it for that because I don't have time to really do all the research. When I searched NES series, it brought up all those ports to the Game Boy Advance, those NES games. Mm-hmm. I love those. I actually have the NES Game Boy Advance, the one that the SP that folds over. I'm so happy I still have that thing. It's beautiful.
That was a great handheld.
I think I've definitely talked about this on one of the episodes on the podcast, but I actually had a limited edition golden Game Boy Advance SP, but the gold was very faint. It wasn't a yellowy gold where you could distinguish it was gold right away. It almost really looked like the silver Game Boy Advance SP, but it was just slightly different. And I actually don't remember what the promotion was for getting this Game Boy. It might have came, or Game Boy Advance SP. It might have came with like one of the Super Mario like World like remakes or whatever they called them on the Game Boy Advance. But I remember I traded it in because I was just like, I think the NES Game Boy Advance SP looks way cooler because it had like the two red like face buttons, like the A and B, and it kind of had like a cool like decal that looked like the actual like NES like system with like lines kind of like going down on it. I think it's a beautiful handheld system. I don't know. That was just me. I digress, though. That is going to do it for this week's video game news. We're now going to move on to our second segment of the podcast where we're going to talk about what we've been watching and playing over the past week. Would you like me to go first, Mike?
Go right ahead, Corey.
Okay. So first of all, let's just get this right out of the way. I watched Godzilla vs. Kong.
Ooh.
Did you, Mike?
No, not yet. But
Okay.
they'll go. It's fine. I've already had idiots spoil the heck out of. Excuse me, I'm coughing again. I already had people spoil the movie for me, so go right ahead and talk about it all you want.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's still very fresh, so I don't want to spoil everything about the movie. I'm probably honestly not going to spoil anything because I don't really like spoil culture. I know I could even do like, oh, here's a spoiler warning for the next 5 minutes, but maybe I'll do that. I'll talk about it here and see if I need to go into detail about that. But just unspoiler related, I did actually really enjoy the movie, and I think this might be my favorite in the legendary Godzilla movies. I just really enjoyed the moment-to moments, especially a lot of the kaiju fights with obviously Godzilla and Kong. They were pretty great, really cool. Of course, with all these legendary movies, the scenes where like the humans are talking about like, you know, all the human conflicts or whatever, kind of a snooze fest, kind of boring. I actually watched this with Megan and she was just kind of saying like how this is so like uninteresting, and I think at one point she did fall asleep when the humans were talking, and I was just like, oh boy. But like when you get to the meat and potatoes of a kaiju movie like this, yes, the monster scene or monster battle scenes were terrific. I think they did a really good job making like honestly making me give a shit about King Kong, because I've watched the King Kong movies. Well, actually the only one I've seen is that one with Jack Black that came out in like the 2000s, which I actually did like. And I might have watched the original King Kong, like the black and white one, but it's been a while if I ever did watch that one. I guess I just didn't watch the cinematic universe precursor, which was Kong Skull Island, which I would actually like to go back and watch now. But all I'm saying is, again, I think Kong is actually really cool in the movie with what they kind of do to establish how like he's just not a big gorilla. He's actually like pretty smart. And I feel like they kind of imply that even just seeing the bare minimum like promotional stuff where he gets the axe that's made out of one of Godzilla's like fin spikes, and like, oh yeah, he's obviously like smart. He can use tools, you know. And I also really enjoyed the additional kaiju that are in the movie. Again, I'm not going to spoil any of that stuff because it's still very fresh, but I do think they did a good job with representing those kaiju, especially like there's just a good like final sequence in this movie, and it's just like the last like 30 minutes, and it's just like all great. It's just so good. If any of y'all have seen the trailers where like Godzilla and Kong are like in that beautiful neon Tokyo, that's just one of the coolest like fights to see visually. It's so spectacular, especially in 4K. I wish I could have seen this in a theater, but I'm still a little scared about COVID and stuff like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think it was my favorite in the Legendary series. It was better than Godzilla King of the Monsters, in my opinion. And I'm just very curious to see what happens after this. I won't give too much away. There isn't a post-credit scene, I will say that, but yeah, I'm just curious.
Save us from having the
exactly. Yeah, right. But yeah, I think it was handled really well, and I just overall enjoyed like the back and forth between Godzilla and Kong, you know, and eventually the other like kaiju fights were pretty cool. I really dug it. I give it 2 thumbs up. 2 audible thumbs up.
I can hear your thumbs up along with the colors in the back of your room. I hear it all.
To continue this trend of watching, I also finally sat down and watched Wandavision.
Oh, cool.
Now, I did not finish WandaVision. I've been meaning so much. I have 2 episodes left, so I watched, I guess, episode 1 to 7. How it's funny how it actually happened. It was just like Saturday afternoon. I was like, okay, I should probably go stream something today. But I ended up I watched like the first episode of WandaVision because I think I was like eating dinner or something. And it just really like hooked me like so much. Like I don't usually like binge shows, but like I really, really wanted to keep watching this show. And I was like, I honestly am just going to keep watching this. And I honestly wouldn't mind just killing it this night. But yeah, eventually Megan came home and we ended up, just like hanging out and doing other stuff. So it's like, okay, I'll just finish this on my own later. But with the first 7 episodes that I watched, I do want to say I think the show is incredible. I liked it way more than I expected I was gonna. I personally do just feel like this is a elongated version of an MCU movie. It starts off a little slow and a little kind of like vague, like you don't really know what's going on, but I actually did like the first like 2 or 3 episodes where I think a lot of people were kind of like, it's just weird. Because for those of you who don't know, like one of the premises about this show is like each episode is kind of like mimicking like old styles of TV shows throughout different decades. So like the first episode is almost like a 50s style like sitcom or whatever you want to call it, almost like an I Love Lucy. And then like the second episode is more like a Honeymooners, like in the 60s. The next episode is like in the 70s. It's almost like a Brady Bunch type thing. They get to like the 80s and the 90s, etc. And it's really cool how they do that. And eventually like the color comes back. And I won't give away what's going on in the story, but I actually really dug what is actually going on in the world with WandaVision. I think it's really interesting. Another thing, this is like a light spoiler, but they touch on this in Spider-Man Far From Home, where they kind of go like the post blip, I believe is what it's called, like after the snap where everyone comes back. And they kind of address some of that in this series, which I thought was really cool. I think that's very interesting, seeing like everyone come back and be like, oh yeah, it was like 2 years and you were just gone. And stuff happened in like the 2 or it might have been even longer. It might have been 5 years. I'm not 100% sure. But there was just like that time gap where people are like coming back and they're like, oh, the world was still happening? What? And I just think that's really interesting how they handle that. Also, I feel like these characters aren't as appreciated, Wanda and Vision. And you really get to like know them and love them watching this series. And I really do like I'm getting to like more appreciate these characters and be like, oh, these characters are actually like really cool. And I'm glad they got this own little thing, because I was even just thinking about this at work, how they're like in a few other movies, but like I feel like they're not really like the focuses. They're always like side characters, and they're actually like really cool characters. So all I'm going to say is from what I watched, I'm really enjoying it. Very excited to see how it ends. And I'm probably just going to start watching Falcon and Winter Soldier right after I'm done with this, because I'm pretty much like choo-choo all aboard the MCU Disney Plus hype train. I saw there was also a new trailer for Loki, which I didn't get to watch yet, but I'm very excited. I actually really want to go back and start actually watching the entirety of the MCU. There's a lot of MCU movies I actually never got to watch, but I want to start like right at the beginning from Iron Man and just go from there, because it's all on, I'm pretty sure it's all on Disney Plus. And if it's not, I can find a way to watch it here or there. But yes, that's WandaVision. I'm very much enjoying WandaVision. I think it's really good. But with that being said, now I'm going to move on into my games that I've been playing. It's actually a pretty light week. Like I said earlier, like it hasn't been that many days since we last did our podcast, and that's pretty busy, especially with the Easter. I didn't really get much of a chance to play anything. I do want to shout out, though, that I have been playing a bit more of Monster Hunter Rise. That game is still very, very good. It's just Monster Hunter World, if not better. I am just picking away at the main like single-player missions, so to say, which I believe I just finished all the 2-star missions, and now I'm on the 3-star missions. And it feels good, because when you start Monster Hunter and you go to like your upgrade tree for like your weapons, you only see like 2 or 3 different like variants of the weapons you can get. And once you get to the 3-star, then it like really branches open and it looks like a spider web with all the different weapon variants you can get. Like, oh, here's how you upgrade to the ice sword, or here's how you upgrade to the fire sword, or here's how you upgrade to whatever damage you want, so to say. And yet you can't see that weapon yet because usually the weapons kind of like gain features from the monsters you fight. So it's always fun to me too to actually like start to get the different materials from the monsters and then go back to the blacksmith and be like, oh, here's what this sword looks like with this monster's parts on it. But that's been going well. I feel like I don't really have much else to add to that game other than I'm just like really enjoying it. I'm slowly picking away at it. I'm surprised I'm not playing more Monster Hunter Rise because I do think it's very good. I guess I'm just like taking my time with it, so to say.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I'm shocked I also haven't played any like multiplayer yet. Although I know one of my friends, he is a huge Monster Hunter fan, so he is probably like in the end game already right now, just grinding away, trying to get like all the weapons and all the armor like completely upgraded to their highest tier possible. While, like I said, I'm only on like 3-star missions, which is not very far into the game. I'd probably say I only put maybe like 5 hours into it, or maybe even less. I'm not 100% sure. But like I said, I'm just going to continue to slowly like pick away at that because it's just really good. It's a lot of fun. Next up, I wanted to quickly talk about, I've been getting a little bit back into PUBG. So I kind of talked about last week how I had like this weird craving to go back to like a battle royale. And I tried Warzone and I wasn't really feeling that. And then I tried PUBG and I was kind of like, like I hopped off of it. I decided to go back to it because I was actually watching a streamer like play a little bit more of it, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting. I do want to play more of it. I could feel when I played like one round of PUBG, like how much it's been updated since I last played it, because I probably haven't played it for about a year or so. It just felt like more like smooth. I feel like they did a good job with like the audio. Like it's easy to tell where like people are walking or running around, or like when people are getting in gunfights, like how far away they are. I don't really have much else to say about PUBG. Honestly, I'm probably not going to go back to it when I talk about the next game I'm playing. But I feel like it was kind of just the stepping stones into leading into this, where I want to play a Battle Royale game, but I don't really want to go back to PUBG. And I think it's just mainly due to PUBG is like a very slow and clunky game. And it's very much more of like a military sim type of game. Whereas like Call of Duty or Fortnite or Apex Legends is way more like arcade style. This is very much like, okay, you got to attach all your different attachments to your guns, and then you got to reload your gun when you pick it up, and you got to pick up the different ammo, and you really got to take your time when you're like running around the environment. You really got to utilize the cover that's in the environment like naturally. You have to really like, scope your guns properly and take your shots like time at a time. Like you can't just kind of like use every gun like a laser gun. Like they all have certain amounts of recoil. It's very important if you get like certain grips or like muzzle attachments to decrease the recoil to help you actually use the weapons. It's a good game, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it's what I want to be playing right now, or else I've just played enough of it where I'm just like, oh, okay, I think I'm going to move on. And I think I'm just naturally going to move on into the game that I spent a decent amount of time playing yesterday, which is Fortnite. I am just now fully committed to playing Fortnite.
Oh, no.
I am honestly going to be streaming this game for quite some time. I am just drinking the Kool-Aid over here. I've just become the generic Fortnite streamer. And I guess that's just me now.
I'm sorry, folks. We lost him. He's gone forever.
But seriously, I did. So I was watching another content creator that I really like, and he started playing Fortnite out of nowhere. And he usually plays like a lot of the games that I'll end up playing, like Dark Souls type games or like other like Japanese like studio, single player focused games. But he just picked up Fortnite out of nowhere. And I was watching him play for a few hours and see how he enjoyed it. And I was like, you know what? This actually kind of does look like fun. And I did have a small fling at Fortnite in 2018. I probably played for like a few weeks or so. And it was a very similar situation where I saw like another streamer who I follow. he was playing it for a few weeks or months, and I was like, this looks kind of interesting. I feel like I kind of want to get into this world and see what's up about it. And like I said, I've been thinking a lot about my Twitch streaming, like nature and how it kind of works. And as much as I like streaming a lot of like the single player content, I feel like it's just very like weird for me and for the viewers, especially if people like kind of drop in and they don't really know where you are or what's going on. So I think it's kind of a smarter move to play more of these multiplayer type games. So for the time being, I think I am going to try to commit a lot of my time to playing Fortnite and streaming Fortnite. And you know what, guys? I'm not just doing this because it's a popular game and a lot of people like who stream it can be successful for it. I actually do think Fortnite is a lot of fun. Even though there's a lot of, criticisms about it. It can easily be mocked and say it's like a baby's game or whatever. It is a well-polished game. For being what I would say is probably the most popular game in the world, it does get a lot of updates. Unfortunately, a lot of the content that they put into the game is a lot of the like cosmetics and that kind of stuff, which I'm slowly like dipping my toes into that kind of stuff. I haven't spent any money on Fortnite yet, but I am definitely thinking about it because a lot of those cosmetics are really nice. I do get it. And I haven't even seen like all of them, and I haven't even seen like the crazy like crossover ones. Except right now they have like a Lara Croft is like on the current battle pass. You can earn her. And yeah, so again, just going into Fortnite for those of you who've never played it, it's a third-person shooter battle royale game. You got your big island, you got a pickaxe. I'd say the crafting is like the main thing that distinguishes this from other battle royale games. You can essentially like whack any wall or item in the world, and it will give you some sort of material, either wood, brick, or metal, and then you can craft different structures out of those. And depending on what type of material and pieces of terrain you craft, they all have like different amounts of durability and cover, and that kind of adds to the like mechanics of the game, as well as people just like building a bunch of walls and kind of like fighting in the air and eventually like falling to the ground and just exploding into a colorful like piñata of different weapons and items that you can pick up. And I'm not gonna lie, like I've been saying, I've actually been really enjoying spending my time playing the game. I know this is a thing in PUBG as well as Fortnite, that there are a lot of like bot accounts. I don't know if they're necessarily just trying to farm like the battle pass or V-Bucks or whatever, but basically, like I said, the bots will just kind of run around, and they essentially have like very low AI, where it is like fighting a bot in like a video, like another video game, like any multiplayer shooter that allows like a bot, that's not like as smart as a player. So it's kind of interesting to be able to. It's sometimes it's hard for me to distinguish like what's a bot or a player. Usually you can though, because the bots will like run into a wall, or like they'll half second like look at you and not do anything, and then they'll start like shooting at you or something like that. But yeah, I've been enjoying the shooting elements. I think it feels like good for me to play a third person shooter, because I haven't really played one in a while, and I've honestly been craving some sort of third person shooter recently. I like what they're doing with the map. I haven't played Fortnite since they added this like season 2 map where they kind of changed it up drastically. It's very colorful. It looks really nice. It literally looks like a Pixar movie or something like that. And I like a lot of the environments. There's a lot of interesting things going on with this new season where you can like, there's a lot of like animals on the map that you can like kill, and you get like different materials as well as food from them, and you can use like the materials you get to upgrade your weapons. They actually like took away some of the weapons, like the sniper rifles, and added like these bows, and you can get like different types of bows. Like there's a flaming arrow, there's like a poison arrow, there's all sorts of like different things you can upgrade your weapons to, as well as just like if you pick up like there are like normal, or like I forget what the term that they used, like a makeshift, I think is what it's called, like a makeshift like assault rifle or a makeshift like pistol. And you can run around and use that all you want, but you can actually like upgrade it to be just like the default or standard version, which is actually like way better. And like I said, how you kind of like upgrade the weapons is as you run around, you can whack and get different materials, but then you also have to like kill some of the wildlife and get different materials from them. It's all very interesting. I'm kind of digging what they got there. It's very much learning the game because I don't know a lot about Fortnite. Like I said, I only really played it for a little bit, and this was years ago, and the game is always drastically changing. I do think it's kind of ironic, though, that I did start with PUBG and go to Fortnite, considering, Fortnite was creative for a while and then eventually copied PUBG's Battle Royale mode, and, now Fortnite's the most popular game in the world, probably. But yeah, I'm digging Fortnite. I want to learn Fortnite. I want to get better at it. Probably going to end up buying a bunch of skins, like a sap, Well, it's just what I'm going to be doing for a little while now. This doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to stop playing other games. I think I'm going to try to dedicate different days to playing, single player games. So I have things to talk about on the podcast. So it's not just every week like, oh, hey, let me talk about all my matches of Fortnite for a half an hour, I do definitely want to get through my backlog, and I'm going to try to do it the best I can. If that just means like dedicating a day to kind of just relaxing and trying to play a little bit of something here or there. We'll see. But, yeah, I'm going to be streaming a lot of Fortnite in the future. So that's me, Game Bro Corey. If you can't beat him, join him.
Oh, of course. Nah, I'm just messing with you. If you're having fun, that's awesome. And I will admit, like, yeah, if you want to start streaming Fortnite, it's definitely a good way to get some people to, join the community.
Right, and I actually got a new viewer or follower last night as I was playing. I was like, oh, cool, look at that. It's already working.
There you go.
Again, though, I don't want people to get the idea that I'm just doing this because it's popular and it can help you grow. But I've been thinking about a while how, like, I do want to try to stream just, like, one game or one or two games to kind of let people, like, get accustomed to me and then maybe branch out in a few months or however long it takes to, like, just grow, naturally. That's kind of just what I'm doing here. And I actually do think I want to play, like, two games. I was thinking of maybe just streaming some Smash and streaming Fortnite. I don't know. We'll see. How about you, Mike? What did you do what did you watch and play this past week?
Well, let me see. I did not play Fortnite, so I'm already doing a lot. I'm doing a lot better than you. Burn. Just kidding. Anywho, in all seriousness, I really didn't watch anything new at all, and I know there's a lot to watch right now. Like, I actually wanted to take a look at watching, like WandaVision. I just don't have any desire to want to watch that show, but I do want to watch what's it called? The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I think that might be pretty cool. So I do want to look forward to watching that. I do have to look forward to the Bad Batch coming out pretty soon for Star Wars.
Oh yes,
I'm pretty pumped for that. So right now I have a couple of things I want to watch. I do want to watch the King Kong versus Godzilla movie at some point.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Go ahead.
I also saw that recently Disney added, like, I think it's called, like, the Star Wars, like, retro or vintage collection. And it's actually really cool. They have, like, a few animated series, like, from the 70s and the 80s. I forget what it's called, but they have, like, the original, I think it's called, like, Star Wars Droids, and that's actually where Boba Fett first made his appearance in this, like...
Oh.
Yeah, but on there, I was going to shout out that that's where you can get that Clone Wars. That's like the 2D animated one. That's like the canonical, like in between like episode 2 and episode 3. And I do want to watch that because it's all like, HD remastered. That's all I wanted to say. They added that on Disney Plus now.
Nice. I did not know that. Good to know. Thanks, Corey.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as far as like watching though, I just have a couple of things that I'm looking forward to watching. Yeah, I don't think I've watched anything. I think I was trying to look for... I think even just recently, I was just trying to look at my little library downstairs in the basement and just look for something to watch. I think I wanted to rewatch, like, The Hangover again, because I love that movie. I just need whenever I need a good laugh, I just watch that.
Shout-outs to my mom. She's in Vegas right now.
Oh, man. Hoji's not on the roof having a shot of Jaeger.
Shout-outs to me. The one time I went to Vegas for EVO 2015, I legit did see Mike Tyson.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he was shopping. I think I've told this story before, but we were walking through. Sorry, I'm cutting off. I'm cutting you off drastically.
No, it's fine. I want to hear this actually. So please tell me.
So me and my buddy, we were walking through the Caesars like casino and hotel resort, and it's actually huge. If you have ever been to Vegas, like there's multiple sections. There's like the hotel, there's the casino part, but then there's like multiple different like shopping areas where they're basically like almost like a mall inside, but it's like, you know, more like the classic like Roman theme with like the Colosseums, and they have like the ceilings that are painted to look like the sky like during the day with a little bit of clouds. But yeah, there was like this, I think it was like a purse store, so I assume he was shopping for his wife or maybe like a girlfriend or whatever. But yeah, there was just a crowd of people outside it, and the doors were shut. And me and my buddy were like, oh, I wonder what's going on over there. Are they like giving out like some sort of limited item or something like that? And we kept looking. We waited there for about like a minute or two, and we saw that the store was completely empty, and there were like two like guards like right at the front door, like just standing there. And we're like, okay, what's going on in there? And then yeah, literally out of nowhere, like Mike Tyson just walks out of the back, and he has like I think he was holding a bag or a coat or something, and he walks like right up to the front door, like he's in the store, and then the crowd of people are outside the store, like glass. It's almost like he's in like a zoo like cage or something like that. And he just like whips out his phone and takes a picture of everyone, and then he just walks away. I'm like, what a badass.
Yeah. What's up?
And I'm like, no one's going to believe me. This is such a cliche thing to say. I saw Mike Tyson in Vegas, because this was, again, after the Hangover movies where he was, yeah.
I believe you, Corey.
That was the story. It was cool.
Well, unfortunately, I did not see Mike Tyson this past week. Or anything in my life.
I'll have to give him a call.
Yeah.
Good friends.
Invite him on the podcast. So yeah, again, unfortunately, when it comes to TV shows, I haven't really watched anything. I should just movies, TV shows in general. I haven't had none to watch. However, for games, I have two things to say. One is that I continue to play Yooka-Laylee. I swear, I keep finding myself just playing like a level here and there, and that game is just still so good. So can't complain about that. Here's something that I did. I barely dabbled in this for like 2 minutes, and then I had to leave the house because I downloaded it right before we had to leave for Easter, like to my cousin's house. Or I should say, I downloaded it and I played it for like 2 minutes, but then we had to leave. So again, Yooka-Laylee was great. The new game that I have been playing, and it is a fan-made game. It was just announced, obviously, within the last week.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to talk about this. I bet I know what it is.
Yep, the Metroid Prime 2D fan-made version. Oh my gosh. So at first I saw this, and I'm like, oh wow, someone actually made like a little 2D fan-made version of Prime. And I'm like, but from the visuals, I thought it was going to be something very similar to like AM2R, where they took some of the GBA sprites and made a game out of it. But I could tell that there was definitely a lot more detail in these sprites, and so I thought, well, I gotta check this out. Even though they said a demo was available, so I downloaded the demo, and it was actually I didn't get a chance to play it. So before we left for my cousin's house for the Thanksgiving barbecue or whatever, I thought, let me just boot it up and see how this game looks. And I haven't played it since. So it's killing me right now. But I booted it up, and it has a really interesting little intro that kind of simulates the intro from Metroid Prime. And it doesn't do the tutorial, the very intro part of the game where you're on the spaceship, the Orpheon. It's more like it just takes you right down to the planet where the game technically officially begins. And I was shocked that I couldn't use. I mean, I'm still I'm still fiddling because I'm sure there's controller options, but I was trying to use some of my USB controllers to control my character, and I couldn't. And then I tried using the up and down arrows and WASD, and I learned that you have to use the keyboard and you use the mouse, and there is a cursor, your cursor where your mouse is actually where Samus is constantly pointing her gun. So that's it actually reminds me of the 3DS version of Metroid 2 Samus Returns, where you can go into your stance and aim in and you get all 360 degrees of aiming. So in this, you constantly have that as you're moving around, and you click the mouse to shoot your gun, and it's cool because the sound effects are similar to Metroid Prime, and but the cool thing is it dropped you off right in the opening, like the landing site in the game, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the visuals are amazing, the graphics are smooth, it's not like it's not choppy, and I'm shooting the gun, I'm like pointing around, and I'm like, this is actually incredible. I can't wait to play this game and give it a shot and see what it's all about, and then I had to leave.
Oh,
I haven't been, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta play this. I'm still craving to play this game. Maybe tomorrow I'll play it.
Again, I don't mean to cut you off, but I did want to talk about this. I don't know how I forgot to pull this up in the news.
It's all right. We're talking about it now. So,
but yeah, I'm watching some gameplay of it, and yeah, this game looks incredible. Like the sprite work, chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. I can't wait to give it a shot. Admittedly, the control scheme did seem a little bit weird, so I wanted to see. Oh, here's one thing I remember. Like when I was kind of playing it, I was trying to like pause the game. Well, actually, when I was trying to turn the game off because I had to leave, I was having a hard time trying to like turn the game off. But eventually, I realized if you press the escape, it gets you to like the menu and everything. But I want to like dabble, or maybe tonight before I go to bed, I'll check it out. I want to dabble and see if you can like do like different controller options. But I think the main point of the game is you have to use the mouse because that's the whole point of the pointing scheme. Like it's not like when you play like Super Metroid or Metroid Zero Mission or Fusion, whatever. Like so, I think it's meant to be played with a keyboard and mouse to kind of give you that whole like 360 degrees of like shooting. And I'll give it a shot. It'll be a different control scheme to get used to, but for this kind of like new experience, I'm looking to give it a shot. And the cool thing is, because this is supposed to be this is not like a brand new game. It's based on Metroid Prime, and I played that game on the GameCube like countless times. So I can't wait to see how well this game replicates that game. Because obviously that game being a 3D game. You have 3D rooms and like multiple doors in these rooms, but this being a 2D game has to, be very similar to the classic 2D Metroid games where you have like, just doors like at the left and right in those side of the screen. So I'm kind of curious how the world is laid out, and that's something I'm just going to have to experience when as I play it. But yeah, man, that's something that I technically played it for 2 minutes. But I can't wait to get back into it and give you guys more feedback later. Actually, that'd be a great game. I would love to record for Level With Me on YouTube as like a fresh game. But I'm currently still doing Zelda, and I'd rather do that game as like my fresh Let's Play. And I would rather play a Metroid game like a game that I played. I'd rather play through it myself and then record myself so that I'm not being terrible at the game. I rather like play, having some kind of knowledge of the game itself. So that way I'm not wasting like countless hours. Like, again, it's Metroid Prime, so if it's the same world and everything, just in a 2D version, I should know exactly where I'm going. But it's more like because it is brand new. I don't know. Maybe they did change a few things up, so I just don't know yet. So I rather. Man, as exciting as it is to play this thing, to play that game fresh and record it, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll have to make up my mind later.
Yet again, Nintendo is doing nothing with Metroid, so the fans have to make this, and then
yes,
it's only a matter of time before they're like, take that off.
Yeah, you didn't say the magic word. I am actually terrified that because this game is getting such just like AM2R is getting such a positive reception, I'm worried Nintendo's going to step in. And for all I know, maybe they did one of those what they call DCA claims or the cease and desist. Maybe one already happened. I don't know, but like technically, again, the game's free. They're not charging money, so I don't understand really why they would step in. And that always kind of made me realize, like, yes, they have every legal right to do this, but like even like with AM2R, like it wasn't like they were charging money for the game. Then I would say, yeah, they absolutely have the right to say, no, you can't do this, But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, for all the Metroid fans out there that are listeners to the podcast, and you haven't heard about this already, yes, you can go and download Metroid Prime 2D. It's a fan-made game, and actually, I think I saw that Nintendo Life covered it on YouTube. I think the game is actually like officially out now. Like a week ago, I heard, within the last week, when I heard that the demo was available. Now I think I'm hearing them say that the game is finished. So I don't know how truthful that is because like how can you release a demo and then like a week later? Oh, but by the way, now it's finished. So I don't know. Anyway, just look it up yourself and go. I'll give Alex from the Nintendo Life a shout out. Go check out his YouTube channel and go check out Nintendo Life and go see their video on it in case you want a bit more information on it.
The brief gameplay I watched was also on Game Explain. They cover a lot of Nintendo stuff.
There you go.
So you could check that out too.
Yeah, but that was my week.
Alrighty, so now we're going to move on into the final segment of the Level With Me podcast where we want your answers to the weekly poll. Mike, take it away.
Alrighty, so this weekly question for all of our listeners that we love to hear from you guys. We want to get your input so we can talk about it here on the podcast. My question that I put up for the week is, who is your favorite video game mascot? And I did give out 4 options, but that's just because of, Instagram's format. If you wanted to, I probably did a very poor job explaining this, but you could always just send us a message with the answer, obviously if it's a different character. But I just put up for the top 4 that I can think of for, the different video game companies. I had Mario as an option, Crash Bandicoot as an option, because he was like PlayStation's mascot for the longest time. Sonic the Hedgehog for Sega, obviously. Master Chief is basically like an Xbox mascot. And I want to see, what did you guys say? And we did get a few answers. Unfortunately, Crash Bandicoot got nothing, so no love for Crash. Oof. And also, Mario didn't get any votes. But
Mamma mia.
Yeah. Oh, mama.
Wah!
Yeah. Wah! I can't do that voice. I have some friends who can do that voice like on perfectly on.
You're
key.
friends with Charles Martinet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't tell you that.
Why didn't you tell?
Anyway,
why didn't you tell him to give me a discount when I met him? That.
I was gonna say, if anything, you're friends with them. You usually met them in person. Anyway, so we did get a couple answers.
So we got 6 Master Chiefs. Yep.
Actually, Master Chief did win the poll. So we got answers from Owen Reese and Death One Collector on Instagram. They did vote for Master Chief. And to be fair, Master Chief is a really cool character. I do like Chief a lot. Like he's pretty cool, and he definitely is a great mascot for Xbox as a whole. I think, or from Microsoft. So even though I'm a little sad Mario didn't get the vote. To be fair, I think Mario's is pretty he's kind of like that safe bet because everyone could just say Mario. Everyone knows Mario. But so yeah, Master Chief got the most love, and we did get a vote from Mr. Ethan, or Purple Lightning Derp as he's called on Instagram. But we don't have his Ethan or Dr. E or E-Man from
right. Long time no see.
Yeah. From I keep getting their thing mixed up. I know it's like the We Are podcast group or We Are Bagoo. Or I think at one point they were called Quack Attack. Forgive me, Ducky and Dr. Eve, if I'm getting your YouTube channel and your podcast.
I think it's We Are Podcast.
Yeah, they have so many things.
Yeah.
I mean, not complaining, but I just want to make sure that people know what I'm talking about when I explain them. But yeah, Ethan, and he voted for Sonic the Hedgehog. And hey, I have a lot of love for Sonic, especially classic Sonic being Sega's mascot. Definitely up there with something. He's right up there with Mario being I think 2 of the biggest icons of video games. But yeah, so
thank you guys.
Thank you guys for reaching out and voting on our little poll here. Happy to see that Sonic and Master Chief got a lot of love.
In terms of video game mascots, it would be cool to see Crash and Master Chief in Super Smash Brothers. That's all I'm saying.
I do think Crash has a better chance because he actually there have been Crash games on.
Yeah, they
on
put the
Nintendo.
Insane Collection and
That
Crash
too.
4. Yep.
Yeah, most recently. Yep. So yeah, Crash could definitely be on there, and he is definitely he has so much video game history. So it's he'd be perfect for Smash. Master Chief,
well, Mike, Master Chief is in Fortnite, and Fortnite is on the Nintendo Switch.
If that's their justification for putting Chief on there, so be it. But man, that's reaching. That's really reaching.
Every time that people bring up Crash and Smash, which I do want, I think he would fit in there perfectly. But I just can't help and just think about all those ads from the PlayStation era where it was that dude in the Crash mascot outfit just yelling at Nintendo of America headquarters, being like, "You done, plumber?" or whatever. Go look those up on YouTube. They're great.
So much.
I'm probably gonna do that after we're done with the podcast. Also, I was gonna ask you, do you think it would be better if we did? Because I know on Instagram you can do questions that are like you just fill in the blank. So do you think it'd be better if you just put who's your favorite video game mascot and just add a blank?
That's what I should have done. But I think I tried this because I was worried that I thought I was more worried that people like our listeners and viewers felt like, oh, I don't want to type things in.
Right.
But I'll click a button. So that's why I thought I'd do like the quiz format.
I get that. Yeah, that makes
sense. But if you guys think, but if you guys want me to just do like the blank question and you can fill it in yourself, I'm fine with that. I just didn't know if that was scaring people away.
Good
where they're
point.
like, "Oh,
that's a good point."
But my poor thumbs are going to be killing me after I type all those letters. So
I hear all our listeners out there because I listen to like at least 20 different podcasts, and like a dozen of them have like, "Oh, send an email and we'll read it on the podcast," like a question, and like I've never once thought about doing that. Well, I've thought about doing it, but I've never actually like took the action to send in a question. So shame on me.
Shame on me too.
But thank you, everyone. Yes. Owen Reese, Death One Collector. That's my buddy Brandon. Yep. And our other buddy. Is it Purple Lightning Derp? Ethan.
Purple Lightning Derp. Yep. Dr. Ethan. He knows who he is.
And all their accounts will be in the description. Please go give them a follow. That's kind of why we do it. If you answer the question on the Instagram, which we usually will put up on Monday or Tuesday, we'll give you a shout out on the Level With Me podcast. And, it helps us. It helps you. Scratch our back, scratch yours, etc.
Yeah. Let's grow the community, guys.
If I would have had to pick a video gaming mascot, I would have went with Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Oh, I remember that. That was on the original Xbox. Right?
Yeah. Or Bubsy.
Oh God. Yeah, for the what was he on the? He was on the Sega and stuff. I guess you can call him.
I think he was on the Sega.
Wait, was he like an Atari made character? I forget if Atari made it.
I have no idea. I mean, they made Bubsy games. They made one like a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I think they made two actually. I think they made one in like 2018, and honestly, they might have made one like last year in like 2019.
Actually, I think I did. This is a bit of a tangent, but I think I do know the company's name. It's like Coleco or something. What the hell is that company called? Bubsy was made by. No, not Ben's Studio. It was Accolade. That's the video game company. So he's their mascot, I guess. Accolade. Yeah, you know Accolade.
Hey, I'm Bubsy. Come play my game. It's a lot of fun.
What could possibly go wrong?
I'm gonna jump on these 3D platforms because it's a 3D platformer.
Yeah. Look, play my Bubsy 3D game where there's just shapes everywhere.
Who cares if it looks like it's in early access? That's part of the fun.
What's that? You got a headache? Play my game? Oh, don't look at me. I didn't design it.
I can't help that you have no depth perception and can't tell where you're landing after the jump.
I actually pointed out that Bubsy 3D is probably one of the worst games ever made, and I put that in my one Metroid Other M review. I was talking about how that game, because people say that game is the worst game ever made, and I'm like, have you ever played Bubsy 3D or Superman 64 or Anthem?
Oof.
Yeah, oof.
Rip in peace, Anthem. Yeah, you let it go too soon.
Anywho,
I think that about wraps it up here, guys. Thank you all for listening. If you want to support Level With Me, you could give us a follow or subscribe or whatever on any of the podcast services you're listening to this on. You can check us out on Podbean, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. I'm pretty sure we're on the Google equivalent of that. I should know what it's called, but I don't. We're on Pandora, and of course you can watch and listen to the podcast. Well, mostly listen to it because there's no video element on YouTube. While you're on YouTube, also subscribe to the Level With Me channel on YouTube. Right now, the Let's Plays are kind of stunted, mainly due to, again, just real life is getting in the way, mostly my job. So it's going to slow down a little bit. Okay, I say this all the time, but I do seriously really want to get back to playing Mario 64 so I can put something on the channel for y'all to watch and enjoy. But one day, we'll get back to the No More Heroes Let's Play. Mike is going to be uploading more parts of the AM2R because I believe we have a few more.
Yes, I do have a few more. I just have to find time to upload them. They're on their way.
And are you going to be looking at like more of the Minish Cap or
yes? Oh yeah,
else?
I have. No. Yep, definitely the Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. That's the Let's Play I'm doing. Kind of like like fresh start, like just me playing it. So that's like Corey's the equivalent to Mario 64.
Okay.
Gotta get. I gotta get. Yeah. Sorry guys. I gotta get back on that. It's just been tough.
Yeah, life gets in the way. It's rough.
Adulting.
Yeah.
I blame the Easter Bunny for taking up all my free time.
Right. All those eggs. Mm-hmm. Everyone give Mike some love. You know, he lost his dog and his fiance. You know, he just has like 6 dozen eggs.
I know. I was trying to play the Minish Cap, and now it's an egg.
It turns into one of those like Hershey like malted eggs, like the tiny ones.
Ew. The Cadbury eggs, whatever.
Oh boy, I love me a good Cadbury egg. I don't want a lot of them though. I just want maybe like one, and then I'm like, okay, that was enough for now. I need to deal with this one egg and make sure it doesn't lead to any long-term effects after eating it. Literally, the yolk in a Cadbury cream egg is just like condensed sugar, and then all the cream is also just sugar. So you know,
it's true.
You get like 6 cavities after eating one Cadbury cream egg. That's what I'm saying.
And you gain 5 pounds. Immediately.
And then they think those fuckers over at Hershey think they're so clever, and they just bring the egg back for Halloween and call it a Cadbury Scream Egg, and they make the goo green instead of white.
It's genius.
It kind of is, actually. Also, small tangent there, but did you see that they actually made a fucking Pepsi that has peep flavored? Like a peep flavored Pepsi?
Ew. Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it really does. That is like, who wants that? Oh I hate Peeps to begin with, so I don't want Peep anything.
I mean, they're essentially just marshmallows, but I just can't even imagine that being a soda flavor. Well, no, thank you.
So yeah, if you guys hate Peeps, y'all know you can come follow me, #1 Peep hater on the internet, GameBro Corey. Check out my Twitter and my Instagram, as well as my Twitch, twitch.tv/GameBro Corey. Like I said, probably gonna be playing a lot of that FORTNITE in the meantime, and maybe we're gonna look at something else. I might do like 2 games. I'm thinking about like I said, like streaming Smash, like maybe 1 or 2 days, and then playing FORTNITE because I would like to get back into playing Smash. I do like competing. I've still been thinking about maybe doing some of the online tournaments. So again, GameBro Corey, Twitter, Instagram, twitch.tv. What about you, Mike?
Well, if you guys want to find me, I'll be in Las Vegas because apparently weed's legal there now. So I know where I'll be heading.
I'll let my mom know.
Yeah, I'll throw over and say, "Oh, hey, Mrs. GameBro Mama," and you might find me on the roof having a shot of Jaeger before a crazy night out on the town in Las Vegas. But no, if you guys really want to find me, you can find me on YouTube and Instagram at the Collector's Vault. Again, we'll have all that information linked down below. If you guys like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, anything collectible, sports memorabilia, you can come check out my channel. Talk about cards, the secondary market. And I also have a couple funny memes every now and again. And I definitely want to, again, just implore you guys to definitely check out Corey's Twitch channel. He's doing a lot better now. He's been uploading a lot of great content, streaming a lot of great games. It's a good time. You guys really need to go give him some love.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I got nothing. How do we end this?
I guess we can do more Bubsy quotes.
Ugh! This game plays great!
Wow, a bridge too far? More like a bridge too short.
If you tap on the D-pad, I can jump higher.
Oh, look at that. There's yarn balls to collect over there. Why do I sound like Frank Reynolds?
Is Bubsy just Frank Reynolds?
He might as well be Frank. He's kind of like a combination of Frank and Charlie. That's kind of...
I can't wait for the Bubsy cinematic universe where Frank or Frank Reynolds, where Danny DeVito voices Bubsy. And then, when we get the sequel to Space Jam: A New Legacy, Bubsy can be right there on the court playing with, Bugs Bunny and Lola Bunny, etc.
Here's a fun fact. The actual voice of Bubsy is the voice of Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron, and the voice of Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, and Yakko from Animaniacs. I can't remember that guy's name, that voice actor, but he voices Bubsy.
I'm sorry, did you say Carl Weezer?
Yeah. Oh, hi there, Jimmy.
Are you gonna finish that croissant? Comedy gold! Everyone loves the croissant meme. Okay, well, I do. That's the best you guys are fucking getting, alright? Good night.